Hello beautiful simmers, and welcome back to another build. This build is a request that was for a mermaid family house. It's a lot underwater. I definitely love all of the rocks and decoration that's going on, and I am really considering putting another house in this area just to create the house on top and maybe have a few more platform sort of things going on here with the outside and the actual house itself. It's very much more about decoration on the outside, and then everything else is pretty much just plonk. We made it sound quite casual there, but it is intended to all be underground, and I realised that maybe the lovely lady that requested this probably wasn't necessarily thinking the same as I was. But as things went on, I really did want to add a little bit more structure to the outside in regards to a building. This whole idea was based around the idea of a cave entrance, hence why it goes down a lot, and then we have lots of bits that just sort of stick out and sort of say this is actually a house, it's here. We're kind of trying to make it sort of fit in with the environment around it. I wanted it to seem like this was a natural cove. It gave the mermaids privacy and a home, somewhere they felt safe, and so they built around it, and they wanted light in their home, etc. So we do have these upper rooms. However, it is a lot downstairs. I wanted to keep sort of kind of make it seem like a secret area. So the whole idea was built off it having a cave entrance. This was quite difficult to make, mostly because I couldn't necessarily get it to work to start with, and the main reason was the placement of the stones, especially this one here. As you can see, I've kind of scrapped it all and I started again from the beginning. This actually happened several times, mostly to put the waterfall in, but with the stones I had this amazing idea I can build up around it, and it just never quite worked, and then that affected the waterfall, and it just kept going in vicious circles with an annoying chain reaction. And then every time I built in something else with a building, etc., it went all crazy and it got rid of my waterfall. So you may see the waterfall appear and disappear many times, and that's basically because I changed something on the other side, maybe deleted a rock that I shouldn't have deleted, so it disappeared again and again and again. So straight back to the beginning here, you see I actually thought about the house this second time around, decided what I wanted, where I wanted things, and actually had a lot more of an idea rather than just let's have a cave entrance and make it seem concealed. So with that structure already there, it made it a lot easier to work on, and ultimately my ideas did go around it being underwater and a cove with that secret element as already added, and so it didn't necessarily work with putting the building in after. And once I figured out what I was going to do with the building, I figured the rest out, and it worked a lot better figuring out the structure first. Definitely something to remember. So I tried to add in a little sort of ruin area. I tried this a couple of times, And I like the idea of trying to make it seem like this could be quite an ancient sort of area specialised for the mermaids, and yet they're sort of really lucky to have all these upgraded modern house around it as well. I really wanted to sort of emphasise the fact that the water that is there is kind of a well-developed area that's been there for ages. Maybe they've had a few things go on and things have broken down and come back again. And all was well and good, and it just didn't seem to work. It was more the colours of the ruin objects from the I was about to say get to work, but that definitely isn't it, to get together pack. And putting all of that together, it just didn't seem realistic to a point where it fit in well with the rocks and everything else. From the Islands Living pack, there was some glass flooring. I used that on the bottom of the water area so I could let light into the main rooms that were underground. Unfortunately, this only worked for maybe 2 rooms that were big enough and had the space to add them. I like the way it looks from the top, to be honest. It kind of gives it a sort of element of surprise, like, wait, is there something down there? And then from there, I just love natural light. I had to try and increase that without going over the top. I really challenged myself on the interior to the point where I really wanted it to be modern. So for me, this was really difficult, and it may not look like I struggled much, but honestly I had to really think about every single object that was in here, and then to carry that out throughout the whole of the building as well. That was insane. That really was, for me, like, I had to think so strategically. Almost messed up saying that slightly. I just had to really overthink every room. What should I use? What can I use? And how can I make it so it is modern, and yet we got those elements from Islands Living in there, and it kind of has that cultural aspect. The tapestries I added here, you can see them on the outside. I was very cautious about what I used as wall decorations in the rooms with the lots of windows, and that was basically because I didn't want it to have just like a random black block or brown block just showing on the other side into the water. And I absolutely loved adding these tapestries. I used 3 main packs for doing this, and I actually managed to stick to it for a very long time. So that was Get to Work, oh my gosh, I done that again. It was not Get to Work, it was, bashing up the microphone. So it was Get Together, Island Living, of course, has to be done, as well as Jungle Adventure. And as we go along in the interior, you will see that I add some bubbles into one of the other rooms, into one of the bedrooms, and I just felt like I had to add that water aspect into it. And then so from there I added Dine Out as well. However, that was it, only 4 packs, so that was a glorious moment when I finished this, and I felt so satisfied with it, and it actually worked amazingly. And it just goes to show that I can actually do it. This particular area I'm really fond of, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I just wanted to add a sort of area, sort of like an entrance hall. I kind of wanted it to link to the other part that leads to technically the outside. You have to get down 2 sets of steps to get to this part, and I just wanted to have some sort of like privacy to say, like, this is the house, we don't want this big open glass door here. Yeah, it's awesome, but this is actually the front door, and so I wanted to conceal it a bit. So I done that by cutting the corner off and then just adding the little decoration elements, which kind of sort of also brought the inside, outside, inside. I know which way around I wanted it. So it carried on with doing a lot of decoration. I wanted bright colours, especially for rooms that were up into the water area, just because, for the simple reason I wanted it to add to it. You've got that beautiful coral colours, especially the orange one just outside this part of the building. I wanted to implement that on the inside. Couldn't quite figure out what colour I wanted. I'd also like to point out this moment that, and then I started to add different colours in as well, especially the blue in this room. I found it really sort of had a great contrast with this orange and yellow bright standing out colour. It kind of just chilled it down a bit more without going extremely over the top, and yet it was still really bright and in your face, colourful. So this is the bedroom I was talking about earlier. It's quite small, and I end up extending it outwards just to add like these little alcoves, just to bring it out. And the difference in the wall colours to me made a big difference in how it looked. So you had the darker in the background, but then obviously I put the bubbles in front and it made no real difference. Don't usually use these lights in the background, the little stripy flowered ones. I really felt like it added to the modern aspect. These are also from the Dine Out pack, and I actually used them in another bedroom as well, and I just fell in love with them. I never really used them before, and there was something about them in this build that just worked beautifully. And it's lovely when that happens, because now I might actually think about it next time I try to build something else and want it to be a bit more modern. It also helped brighten these rooms up. I found with these rooms, obviously a few of them had, especially these children's rooms here and the main sort of entrance area, they were the ones that had the lights above them coming from the sort of floor windows, but at the same time it was not that effective. You can see sort of just the shadow in that room there, and when it came to decorating it, etc., it didn't make as much difference as I really hoped it would. So they really helped to just add a bit more light into places. I followed this whole little alcove idea further into the hallways. I used it for both hallways, and I just kind of wanted the idea of maybe making it like a little gallery section, like something really stands out here. So that's basically it. I added the tapestries from Island Living on one, and on the other one I actually added a Dine Out wall sculpture. There's two bathrooms, as you can tell. It's the second bathroom. One's a little bit more modern and just very much big, bulky in your face, and the other one was a little bit calmer, a little bit more relaxing with all the wood effects. And then the Island Living bathroom set. Always have to have sets in the bathroom. I don't know why, I just can't mix and match them as much as I maybe might want to. Never know, I might do it one day, but you'll probably see, you're like, well, I know what pack that one's from. So added in a small playroom just up in the tower, and then the tower goes up further. Wasn't entirely sure where to go with this room. I tried a few different things before I settled on this idea, and it works well enough that it's just like an area for chilling out in, especially if you've got a teenager to come in this home. It is a family home. And then eventually I added the master bedroom down here. This was not actually meant to be the master bedroom to start with. This room wasn't even here, in all honesty. It was a last minute addition, so it worked really well. As you can tell, I can use those lights again. So guys, just wrapping up here. Thank you so much for watching. Anybody that subscribed and is wondering what on earth is going on with my recreations, I am working on one. It is very slow going at the moment, partly to motivation purposes on my behalf, but it's also a big complicated build that I'm not entirely sure I'm even going to be able to fit the whole of the floor plan in the build itself. And I'm sure it's not going to be the only time I'm going to be wanting a bigger lot, and it probably isn't the first time either. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. There have been a few alterations to the cave area itself, with the rocks that go up and over into a beautiful little archway. I had to get rid of these because the Sims were just going around the outside to go for a swim so they could get into the house. I am always looking for ideas and anything else you guys think could be awesome to build and you don't know how to do it, or you just don't like building, I am definitely here for you. I'm here to help. This is literally the best part of Sims to me, and I love having your guys' input. Would like to let you know that obviously I'm on the gallery under Tickaboo55, and there is also a website which is Tickaboo Epic Builds. And also I pretty much always use BB Move objects, as well as live edit objects and hidden objects cheats. They are the main cheats I use for anybody that does want to have this beautiful weird mermaid home. I really appreciate you guys. I'm really thankful for you guys watching my videos. Stay awesome.